One other little thing that I'm sure we all noticed in the race was the safety car restart that Max did. And this caught the eye because it's not the first time that Max has done this. He's now done it 3 races in a row. And Charles Leclerc in the lead in the Ferrari, Verstappen in second in the Red Bull. And look at this, he's just getting right alongside Leclerc into the final corner. And he's really meaning that Charles cannot open up the final corner because of the positioning of Max's car. So as we come to the final corner, you're struggling to see at this point who's the leader and who's in second, but it is Leclerc in front. He's looking over at this point towards Max on his right-hand side because he just wants to shuffle him over, make sure he can get the good exit and get down the straight. Remember, the Red Bull has good straight line speed. In the end, he manages to just squeeze over a little bit more and gets a good enough run, and Max can't do much down into this first corner. But it's an interesting tactic that I thought I'd have a look at, because it's Verstappen now that's done it routinely now 3 times in a row. So here we go on board with Max. They're going at very low speed. The safety car lights have come off. Charles Leclerc can dictate the pace and basically dictate when the race restarts. And Max just gets alongside at this point. And what he's doing here is he's stopping Charles from opening up the corner. Charles wants to be heading that direction, to be on this line on the outside, so he can swing into the left-hander that's coming up and get the most speed through the corner. But because Max is alongside, he's going to have a better reaction time because there's just less distance that he can lose. You can have a nice view of when Leclerc's going as well. And he's stopping Leclerc getting to that outside line that he's wanting to open up this corner. So Max doing his little weaving, Charles is doing the accelerating and braking on the throttle and brakes, all to try and get the tyre temps up. Remember, they're on the hard tyres. But the whole way through this, Max is just sitting there alongside. He doesn't overtake, but he's just sitting there alongside Charles. He's just being an absolute nuisance for the race leader. Finally, Leclerc manages to just put a big squeeze on him into this final corner. They're quite close to touching, I have to say, as Leclerc tries to just open it up in a final attempt and then gun it out of the final corner. And Max, with a bit of a squeeze on, gets wide. And without the DRS, of course, on a safety car restart, he can't quite do enough to make an attempt. But the intent is there for Verstappen, and it's a tactic that he's been doing a while, and we can have a look at how he's done it in previous races as well. Now, we already saw this in Bahrain. This was last week's race. Again, you got Leclerc in the front, and Verstappen this time he goes to the inside, which actually doesn't play out for him. In the race in Saudi, he was on the outside, so he had the better line into the final corner. This time he comes along the inside, but he's on the inside, so as soon as Leclerc gets that little breather and goes, Max now has a tight line. So this actually works horribly for Verstappen, trying to be clever here and come alongside Leclerc, because now he's got the tight line. He's got Carlos Sainz in this race to his outside on the much better line, and Max has just cramped his own final corner, and he's nowhere with Leclerc. So this time it doesn't work out at all well for him, and he's actually having to cover off the inside now because Sainz is attacking him. And then this is the other race, 3 races ago, Abu Dhabi, the finale, the big safety car moment as Max is attacking Lewis Hamilton for the lead and the championship. And he's doing exactly the same then. He's a menace here to Lewis, coming right alongside, and he's on the inside for this corner, but then he's on the outside for the next couple. Momentarily, he overtakes Hamilton here. And that was actually under investigation by the stewards in one of the post-race investigations, but nothing came of it. And it's only by a fraction, and it's difficult to judge. But he's doing exactly the same, and he's on the racing line here. So for Hamilton in the Mercedes at this point, he cannot open up the corner very well until he just about manages to, but Max is right there and can go with him on the exit. The dirty air is a little bit worse at this time, even though Max has fresher tyres, so he drops back a little bit through these corners. But it's working okay for him. He's actually not managed to make the most of it. But what do the rules say about what he's doing? Is it fair? None of the drivers are complaining about it. This is the 3rd race he's done in a row, because I don't think he's really doing anything wrong at this point. It's a really grey area. When the safety car comes out, technically the drivers have got to stay in line and follow the safety car and then the race leader. And you'd say, yeah, Max is not staying in line. But who is staying in line at this point? When you see this, where is the line? It's a really squiggly line, isn't it, if you try and join them all up? So it's a grey area. The rule doesn't say you cannot have an overlap on the car ahead. It says you cannot overtake the car ahead. Max didn't. Okay, in Abu Dhabi he did, but it's something that you'd never really see penalised. So it's a strange one. So far, through the three of them, he's not really gained any advantage out of it. It's just a tactic that he's doing. Maybe he's exploiting a grey area that no one else is. But I just wonder now if someone like Charles Leclerc might have a word in the next drivers' meeting and just discuss, is this acceptable on race restarts? Because in theory, it should give Max Verstappen the advantage just because he's able to force the race leader into a position that he doesn't really want to be, which is not the intention of the rule. Max is exploiting it. No one seems unhappy about it at the moment. He's not managed to gain anything particularly from it. But I think, in theory, he should be able to gain a little bit of something from it. So I wonder, if Leclerc might have a word and that rule might be tightened up at some point in the future. It's worth mentioning as well, though, other drivers have done a similar thing, and think back to circuits where there's long straights out of the final corner, a Mugello or a Baku or places like that. You see a lot more of it. It's just rare that it's through the last few corners as Verstappen is doing. Well, that was a look into Max Verstappen's sneaky restart procedure, but there was loads of action in the Saudi Grand Prix from start to finish, the lead to the back. Check it out on F1 TV.